Hi, welcome back. I'm Lisa Wood, interior designer and certified living in place professional. And I focus on helping create very personalized homes that are perfect for now and the future for all stages and all ages of life. Last week, we talked about guest houses and the value that they can bring to your property, not only to your property, but also to your lives. And we focused on prefabricated units. Today, though, we're going to talk about custom options. And I found some exciting and fabulous designs to show you. If you haven't yet subscribed, please do so. Click the bell, and I love to hear your comments because I love to get to know people. So definitely tell me what you take away from this episode. And if you haven't watched last week's, I encourage you to do so because there's some really amazing companies that have prefabricated units that you can just literally drop on site and help increase the amount of capacity that you can bring into your home. So today I want to look at custom architecture because there is a big difference when you are going to either add on to your home or you want to have a separate dwelling unit on your property. That many times you're going to have city inspectors and they're going to want, from an aesthetic standpoint, they're going to want that unit to tie into the original architecture of your home, which is why you need a good team. You got to have a good team of architect, builder, designer, an engineer, most likely, and they'll be able to help you pull it off. So what is an ADU? As a refresher, an ADU is an accessory dwelling unit. It's our technical term in the industry, not sexy at all. There's some much more fun terms that you can use, like granny pod or in-law suite, guest cottage. But a lot of times people are also using these for workspaces. And with COVID happening, a lot of us, I'm one included, work from home. And how nice it is that you can actually have that space to go into that might be separate from your home. Or what about this? What about you have college kids that come home and they got used to living out in the dorm, but now they're back home with you. And I got one of those too, and a new high school graduate. So, if they could have their own space, it'd be ideal for them. Another situation, what if you've got your parents that are going to come and need a place to stay? Maybe they want to stay close by, but they are not able to find something in their price range, but they really just want to downsize. And I've got a beautiful example that I'm going to show you about that particular story. So let's dive in. These are examples of how you can add extra square footage to your home. You can have a unit detached like we just talked about, or you can go up, down, or out. And it really just depends on what you have to work with. So again, getting the right team of people in place that can help you identify what that looks like is going to be your best bet. The benefits of an additional dwelling unit, we have talked about that it can bring you additional income. It increases your diversity. You can use it as workspace, which can actually cut down on some of your expenses, just depending on how you're set up for business. It gives you a lot of flexible living space for kids and older adults. There are differences between an ADU and a duplex. A duplex is typically going to be larger, and it's going to have more people living within it. And the codes and regulations are a little bit different. When you make that decision to actually add additional dwelling space to your home and you're going to use it for rental properties, then you've got to really do some checking and do some homework. We'll talk about that a little bit later. All right, now the fun part. Let's go look at some architecture. I love this example by Capstone Homes. It's out in Austin, Texas, and they took a garage and built up above it. So Austin has a lot of it's called the hill country, and being a Texan, we love that area. We never lived out there, but we absolutely have a deep appreciation for it. And you can have a lot of wide open space. So I love that they went up. They kept a rustic feel to the property and tied it in beautifully with a stone base on the garage. I think they did a gorgeous job. 89 Oak is a design build firm out in Utah, and they took a pool house and turned it into something pretty spectacular for this piece of property. It goes from a quiet guest house to a party house. So if you love to entertain, something like this might be up your alley. But I love the big open windows that they've got. They put doors on it that completely open up those walls, and it just makes it so expansive. And when you're inside the unit looking out, you get to see that beautiful view of the pool and that walkway. So that'd be a pretty fun place to hang out, don't you think? Here's another rustic version. Being, I guess, that I'm in the mountains, I keep finding some of these items or these examples of rustic homes. By this particular architecture and design firm, it looks like an old rustic cabin, but it's very modern. But I love how they used the topography and connected it to a barn. I don't know if that's a usable barn or not, but it is a great little guest cabin. And this firm called Exteriors by Mosby is out in St. Louis, Missouri, and they built a dwelling unit behind the main home. I think the landscape is done really nicely. The walkway obviously connects the two. It's understated, but yet ties in with the original home. Nice job. Here's an example of garage conversion. So the greenhouse, they went up above the garage, and the other house, this dark gray house, they actually converted the garage into living space. Both work. You know, when you're going up above an existing structure, it's kind of like building a whole new structure. It surprises people from the cost standpoint because you're having to go in and add additional support and bracing to what it was the existing rooftop. So you're adding another layer on, but it makes great space if you can go up. Again, you've got to check with the city to see what's possible. I loved these affordable options. I mean, who wouldn't have so much fun staying in a train car, right? So one option is an old railroad car, and converting that I think would be a super fun project. And the one on top is just using a camper next to a tiny home. So if you've got the space to do that, I think the platform works really nice. You can have a shed type building that can house people, and then you've got your camper, and then you just hook that camper up and pull it behind your truck if you want to go someplace. And if it's with all the way people are revamping those things right now, they are super cute. And the bottom one is a container. I have some friends that are building a container home, and it is amazing what you can do with those. What caught my attention on this one is it is a home office. So they built this specifically to double as an office space. The furnishings within, which we'll look at next week, can make it actual guest house space as well. But I think I love the windows with that shed roof. Everything's modern, but still got those rustic touches to it. I think they did beautiful. How much do these things cost? Well, they can range. Of course, it's all going to vary depending on your location, depending on the materials that you put in and the level of detail that you go to. But you can be looking at, I've seen some conversions happen at around $30,000, and then new construction go on up over $300,000. It all depends. And you want to make sure, again, you're going to have your construction costs, your engineering cost, architectural design fees. Interior design typically is not included in that. So I would always recommend, don't wait on interior design to have that input. You want to get it on the front end, because if that entire team can come together and know what the number is that they need to hit, everybody's able to then collaborate and identify the right materials to go into it. And design should never be an afterthought, because the materials add up. And so if a designer knows what they have to work with on the front end, it makes the process much more seamless and go a lot smoother. On average, it takes about 9 to 12 months to build. Again, weather depending, materials depending. With COVID, things are taking longer because there's delays. So just have a realistic budget, have a realistic time frame. So how do you know if one's right for you? That's a very good question. I'd say run the numbers. One of the best tips I read was that if you're considering doing this, go talk to people that either have rental units, Airbnbs. Go talk to people that have built on for family members or just a guest house. See who in your neighborhood has something that you can get your eyes on and you can talk to them about. The other thing is you might talk to realtors. Find out what your realtor knows, and they can check around with their colleagues because they've got quite the network. But it can be a fantastic investment. I wish I would have had something that I could have had my mom closer by. and given her a place to come live for a little bit when it got too hot in Dallas. She could have escaped up here to the mountains, but anyhow, that didn't happen. So hindsight's 2020. But consider that for your friends and your family and your loved ones and your kids. I mean, who wouldn't love to go stay in a fantastic cottage for the weekend? Anyhow, thank you so much. I hope that this inspired you and gave you some nuggets to chew on a little bit and help you in your decision-making process. If you think that somebody might benefit from this video, please do share. Again, I'd love for you to like and subscribe and comment below, because the more we can interact together, hopefully the more we can learn. Click the bell so you can get notified of every Tuesday when I put something out. Next Tuesday, we're gonna dive into the interiors, and I'm gonna show you some incredible possibilities of what you can do, because they're so fun to see. Till next time, you guys have a great week.